Today, I want to share something with you that might change the way you think forever. It's not about grammar rules or vocabulary lists. It's not even about how to speak perfect English. It's about something deeper, something that can decide whether your dreams come true or quietly fade away. It's about the habit of telling everyone your plans. My name is Avanil, and you're watching Bookso English. Now listen closely because this is important. You see, so many people have big dreams. They want to start a business, write a book, travel the world, become successful. And what's the first thing they do? They rush to tell everyone about it. They tell their friends, their family, their neighbors, even strangers online. They post it on social media, "I'm going to do this," or "Watch me achieve that." It feels exciting, right? You feel proud, you feel motivated. But here's the hidden truth. Most of the time, this habit can quietly kill your dreams before they even have a chance to grow. I know this because I made that mistake myself over and over again. When I was younger, I was full of energy and ideas. Every time I thought of something new, I wanted the whole world to know. I would tell my friends over coffee, I would call relatives to share the news, I would even post updates before I had done a single step. And you know what happened? Most of those plans never became real. At first, I didn't understand why. I thought maybe I wasn't disciplined enough. Maybe I didn't work hard enough. But then I started noticing a pattern. Every time I talked too much about my plans, I lost the energy to actually do them. It was as if my brain felt satisfied just from talking about it. People would say, "Wow, Avanil, that's amazing." And that little burst of praise made me feel like I had already succeeded. The problem was, my hands hadn't done the work yet. My idea was still just an idea. And soon, my motivation faded. That's when I realized something important. When you speak too soon, you drain the magic out of your plans. And it's not just about losing energy. The other danger is what happens when too many voices enter your mind. Imagine this. You share your plan with 10 people. What happens? 9 of them will give you their opinion. Some will be kind, but many will be doubtful. Some will say, "That's risky." Others will say, "It's too hard." And here's the worst part. Most of them have never done what you're trying to do. They speak from fear, not from experience. They are projecting their own limitations onto you. If you let those voices get inside your head, you'll start doubting yourself. You'll think, "Maybe they're right. Maybe I can't do it." And that's how so many dreams die. Killed not by failure, but by the words of people who were never meant to walk your path. I once had a friend named Leo who had a brilliant idea for a small business. He was passionate, talented, and hardworking. But he couldn't keep quiet about his plan. He told everyone, from his classmates to random people he met at the bus stop. And every time someone gave him advice, he changed his idea just a little. "Maybe you should sell this instead," one person said. "Maybe you should target a different market," another suggested. By the time Leo was ready to start, his idea was no longer his own. It was a messy puzzle made of everyone else's opinions. He launched the business, but it didn't work. Not because he wasn't capable, but because he had let too many people shape something that was supposed to be his vision. That's when I learned another lesson. Your plan is like a seed. You don't dig it up every day to show people. You plant it in the soil. You water it quietly. You protect it from storms, and you let it grow in silence. Only when it becomes a strong tree do you let the world see it. But if you keep showing people the seed, if you keep exposing it to every hand that wants to touch it, it will never grow. This doesn't mean you should never talk to anyone about your ideas. Of course, there are moments when you need help, advice, or guidance. But you must be careful who you talk to. Not everyone deserves to hear your plans. Choose people who believe in you, people who want to see you win, people who have walked the road you want to walk. Even then, share only what's necessary. You don't have to give them your whole blueprint. Keep some parts just for yourself. Another reason to stay quiet is jealousy. Let's be honest. Not everyone will be happy to see you succeed. Some people will smile to your face but secretly hope you fail. They might discourage you, spread doubts, or even try to block your progress. And sometimes, they do this without even realizing it. Their own insecurities make them pull you down. If you keep your plans to yourself, you remove their chance to interfere. They can't stop what they don't know about. I remember when I was planning my first big project. I told only 2 people. One was my mentor, and the other was my closest friend. Both believed in me, both encouraged me, and both kept my secret. I worked in silence for months, and when I finally launched it, the people who doubted me were shocked. "How did you do this without telling anyone?" they asked. And I just smiled. That's the power of silent work. It speaks louder than any promise you could make. There's also a psychological reason to keep quiet. When you talk about your plans, your brain releases dopamine, the same chemical you get when you achieve something. That little burst of happiness tricks your mind into thinking you've already accomplished your goal. So instead of working hard, you keep talking, chasing that feeling again and again. It's like running in place. You're moving, but you're not going anywhere. The solution? Close your mouth and open your calendar. Replace talk with action. Replace announcement with execution. Work so hard that you don't have time to explain yourself. In the end, results speak for themselves. Think about it. When someone becomes successful, do you care about all the times they said, "I'm gonna do this"? You care about what they actually did. The world respects results, not intentions. And here's something else. Keeping your plans private protects you from the fear of public failure. When you tell everyone what you're going to do, you create pressure. If you don't succeed, you feel embarrassed. You feel like everyone is watching, waiting for you to fall. That fear can paralyze you. But if you keep your plans to yourself, you give yourself the freedom to experiment, to fail, and to try again without shame. You can make mistakes quietly and learn from them without the world's judgment. That's how real growth happens, not in the spotlight, but in the shadows. I want you to imagine this. You are building a small fire. At first, the flame is weak, delicate, and it needs protection. You shield it from the wind, you feed it little by little, and slowly it grows stronger. But if you blow too hard or let everyone around poke at it, the flame dies. That fire is your dream. In the early stage, it is fragile. It needs your focus, your care, and your silence. Too many hands, too many voices, too many opinions will put it out before it has a chance to burn bright. I've seen it happen so many times. A student of mine once told me he wanted to start a YouTube channel teaching guitar. He was excited and told almost everyone he knew. Some said, "That's amazing, you'll do great." But others laughed and said, "Why bother? There are already thousands of channels out there." Guess which word stayed in his head? Not the encouraging ones, the negative ones. Weeks passed, and instead of recording videos, he kept thinking about those doubts. Eventually, he gave up before even starting. This is why silence is a form of self-protection. It's not about being secretive for no reason. It's about guarding your motivation from being poisoned by negativity. And let's be clear, negativity is not always loud. Sometimes it's small and hidden. A single raised eyebrow, a quick, are you sure?" can plant seeds of doubt in your heart. Those seeds can grow faster than your dream if you're not careful. Another danger of sharing too much is the false sense of accountability. Many people believe that telling everyone their plan will force them to follow through because now others expect it. It sounds logical, but it often backfires. Instead of pushing you to work harder, it can make you feel trapped. The pressure becomes heavy, and you start worrying more about what people will think than about actually doing the work. You begin working for appearances instead of results. That's not real progress. That's just performance. And trust me, performance without purpose is exhausting. You end up burning out before you even get to the finish line. I remember one time when I announced a big project to my audience before I had even completed half of it. At first, I felt powerful. People clapped, they cheered, they said, "We can't wait to see it." But then reality hit. I realized I still had so much to do, and now hundreds of people were waiting, watching, and expecting something amazing. Instead of feeling motivated, I felt suffocated. I was scared to take risks or try new ideas in case I failed in front of them. My creativity suffered. That's when I promised myself, I will only share my plans when they are ready, not when they are still fragile ideas. Quiet work has a kind of magic. When nobody is watching, you have the freedom to test, fail, learn, and improve without fear. You can make mistakes and fix them before anyone knows. You can change your direction without having to explain yourself. And when you finally reveal your work, it's strong, polished, and undeniable. People won't be able to argue with results. Think about the most successful people in the world. They are not constantly announcing what they're going to do next. They are too busy doing it. The announcement comes when the product is ready, when the book is published, when the building is complete. They let the finished work speak for itself. And here's something even deeper. When you work quietly, you develop inner strength. You stop relying on other people's reactions for motivation. You become your own source of energy. That is powerful because external praise can fade, but self-belief stays with you. Another important point: telling your plans too soon can make you a target for competition. If your idea is unique and valuable, the wrong person could take it, adapt it, and release it before you do. I've seen this happen many times in business. A person shares their concept with a group thinking they're just talking, but someone in that group moves faster and takes the market. The original person is left with nothing but regret. That's why sometimes the safest place for your plan is inside your own mind until it's ready. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but Avenel, I need support. I can't do everything alone. And you're right, you don't have to do it alone. But there's a difference between getting genuine help and announcing your every move. You can choose one or two trusted people to share your journey with, people who will encourage you, guide you, and protect your vision. That's different from telling the whole world. When I started Bookso English, I didn't tell hundreds of people. I told 3. They were my safe circle. They kept me focused when things got hard, and they celebrated with me when things went well. And because my circle was small, my dreams stayed safe. I want you to think about your dream like a treasure. You wouldn't walk through a crowded street holding gold in your hands for everyone to see. You would keep it hidden, close to your heart, until it was safe to reveal. Your plan is your treasure. Protect it. And when it's ready, the world will see it shine. I also want to talk about the power of surprise. When you work quietly and reveal your success unexpectedly, you create impact. People remember surprises more than promises. If you keep talking about what you're going to do, they get used to hearing it, and by the time you achieve it, the excitement is gone. But if you appear one day with a finished, successful project, people will be amazed. They'll say, "Wow, where did this come from?" That surprise gives your success extra power. It inspires others and earns respect. Quiet work also teaches patience. We live in a world where everyone wants instant recognition. They post something and immediately check for likes and comments. But real success often takes time. When you keep your plans to yourself, you learn to value the process, to trust the slow growth, and to enjoy the journey without constantly looking for applause. This mindset makes you stronger and more prepared for challenges. And challenges will come. Make no mistake about that. Every dream worth having will face obstacles. If too many people know your plan, they will also know your struggles. Some will offer support, but others might use your struggles as proof that you won't succeed. They might say, "See? I told you it was a bad idea." Those words can hit you hard, especially in moments when you're already feeling weak. But if you've kept your plan private, you face those struggles alone or with your trusted circle. You don't have to fight public opinion while fighting your real battles. You can focus fully on finding solutions instead of defending yourself. Silence is not weakness, it's strategy. And like any good strategy, it gives you an advantage. It keeps you in control of your narrative. You decide what people know and when they know it. That control protects your dream and gives it the space it needs to grow strong enough to stand on its own. Sometimes I think about how different my life would be if I had learned this lesson earlier. Back when I was younger, I wasted so much time talking about what I would do instead of actually doing it. I would sit with friends late at night, telling them about my next big idea. We would get excited together, imagining the success, imagining the applause, imagining the money. And yet, after all that talking, I would wake up the next morning with less motivation than before. It's strange, isn't it? The more I talked, the less I worked. It was as if my mind believed the dream was already halfway done just because I had said it out loud. But here's the truth I want you to remember. You can't build a house by talking about bricks. You have to pick them up and place them one by one. Dreams grow the same way, step by step, silently. When I finally started working in silence, my results changed. I didn't feel the need to prove anything to anyone. I didn't feel pressure to update the world. I simply woke up every day and worked. I failed in silence, I fixed mistakes in silence, and I celebrated small wins in silence. And when my projects were ready, they spoke for themselves. People were surprised. They would say, "We didn't even know you were working on this." And I would smile because that was exactly the point. Quiet progress feels different. It's cleaner, stronger, and more focused. There are no distractions, no unnecessary doubts, no wasted time explaining yourself. Just you and your work, moving forward together. I remember one specific time when I kept a plan completely secret. It was a small online course I was creating for Bookso English. I didn't post about it. I didn't tell my friends. I didn't even mention it to my family. Every day, I worked on it quietly. Some days it was hard. Some days I thought about quitting. But because nobody knew about it, there was no outside pressure, no one to disappoint but myself. That freedom allowed me to experiment, to try different ideas, to adjust my methods until I was satisfied. When I finally released it, people were shocked. The course did well, and the surprise made it even more powerful. I learned that day that silence is not just a shield. It's a tool. It gives you space to grow without interference. And here's something else I realized. When you tell everyone your plans, you also open yourself up to comparisons. People will measure your progress against their own expectations, and they will not be kind about it. They might say, "Oh, you've been working on that for months? Shouldn't it be finished by now?" Those comments create unnecessary stress and make you question your pace. But your journey is your own. Some seeds grow in days, others in years. If you keep your plans to yourself, you don't have to justify your timeline to anyone. You can move at your own speed, without the weight of other people's impatience. Another hidden danger of talking too much is that it attracts the wrong kind of attention. Some people will pretend to support you, but they're only watching to see if you fail. They might even take pleasure in your struggles. Why give them that satisfaction? Why give them access to your vulnerable moments? Keep your work private until it's strong enough to handle the world's eyes. I've also noticed that silence makes success feel sweeter. When you achieve something quietly, the victory feels pure. You know it came from your own effort, not from the noise of public expectation. You don't achieve it to prove someone wrong. You achieve it because you wanted it. That kind of success lasts longer because it's built on self-belief, not on the need for approval. And there's one more thing I want you to think about. Energy. Every time you tell your plan to someone, You give away a little of your energy. You might not notice it, but it happens. You start answering questions, explaining details, defending your choices. Before you know it, you've spent hours talking about your dream instead of building it. That's why I protect my energy now. I save it for the work, not for endless conversations. If someone asks me what I'm working on, I smile and say, "You'll see soon." It keeps my focus sharp and my excitement alive. And that's something I want for you too, to keep your excitement alive. Excitement is like fuel. If you burn it all in conversation, there's nothing left for action. But if you keep it stored inside you, it will power you through the long, hard days when motivation is low. So here's my advice. Hold your plans like a secret gift. Work on them quietly. Feed them with action and protect them from careless words. Let your results be the announcement. Let the finished work be your statement. And when you finally share it with the world, it will be so strong, so real, and so undeniable that no one can take it away from you. This is not just theory. It's something I have lived. Every major achievement I've had came from silent work. Every failure I've had was tied to too much talking. The pattern is clear, and I don't want you to waste years learning it the hard way. Start now. Choose silence. Choose focus. Choose action over announcement. Because in the end, the people who matter will see your work when it's ready, and the people who don't matter never needed to know in the first place. There's something powerful about moving in silence that most people don't understand until they experience it. When you work quietly, you remove distractions, but you also step into a different state of mind. Your focus becomes sharper, your decisions become clearer, and your heart becomes calmer. You no longer waste time wondering how your plans sound to others. You simply build them step by step. I learned this deeply when I took on one of my most ambitious projects yet, a complete transformation of the Bookso English channel. At the time, I knew it was going to require months of hard work, planning, and testing. My old self would have announced it proudly, telling my viewers, my friends, and my family about what was coming. But instead, I decided to do the opposite. I said nothing. I didn't make promises. I didn't give hints. I didn't even tell close friends the full details. I just worked. Every day, I poured my energy into creating new lessons, improving the content, and refining the presentation. There were days when it was exhausting, days when it felt like nothing was going right, days when I wanted to quit. But in those moments, I realized the beauty of working without an audience. I didn't have to explain the struggle to anyone. I could just keep going, quietly fixing things until they worked. And then one day, when the transformation was complete, I pressed publish. The reaction was incredible. People were surprised, impressed, and inspired. They asked, "When did you do all this?" And I simply said, "While you weren't looking." That's the power of silence. It lets your work arrive fully formed, ready to speak for itself. Too often, we think our journey needs applause at every stage. We want someone to cheer for us while we're still halfway up the mountain. But the truth is, the climb is lonely for a reason. It's meant to be done in your own strength. If you keep stopping to tell people how far you've climbed, you lose time, energy, and focus. Worse, some people will use your progress as a reason to discourage you. They might say, "You've already climbed so far, maybe it's enough." Or, "The top looks dangerous, maybe you should stop here." But only you know where your top is. Only you know what will make you feel complete. That's why your vision is not for everyone's eyes. It is like a personal map. No one else can read it the way you do. Sharing it too soon only invites confusion. Another thing to understand is that most people are focused on their own lives. When you tell them your plans, they might listen politely, but in their minds, they are thinking about their own goals, their own problems, their own dreams. And sometimes, without meaning to, they will project their own fears onto you. If they failed at something, they might warn you not to try. If they never dared to dream big, they might tell you to keep your goals small. Not because they want to hurt you, but because they can't imagine what you imagine. That's why your vision must be protected. It's too precious to be handled by those who can't see it clearly. Protecting your vision also protects your motivation. Imagine your dream is like a small plant. In the early days, it's fragile and it grows slowly. If you show it to everyone, someone might step on it not out of cruelty, but simply because they don't realize how important it is. But if you keep it safe in a place only you can reach, it has the chance to grow strong roots. By the time you reveal it, it's no longer a small plant. It's a strong tree that no one can easily knock down. I can't count how many times I've seen someone excitedly share their big plan online. Starting a business, launching a channel, writing a book, only for months to pass with no updates. Eventually, people forget, and the person who shared the plan feels embarrassed. They stop trying altogether because they feel they have already failed publicly. This is another reason silence works. It removes the fear of public failure. You can fail quietly, learn quietly, and try again quietly, without anyone judging your process. And when you finally succeed, nobody will care how many times you stumbled along the way. They will only see the final victory. Working in silence also makes you unpredictable, and unpredictability is a strength. If everyone knows your every move, they can prepare for it, copy it, or even block it. But when you move quietly, you stay ahead. By the time people realize what you're doing, you've already done it. This keeps your ideas fresh, your progress safe, and your advantage intact. And here's something you might not realize. Silence is attractive. When people don't know exactly what you're working on, they become curious. They start wondering, what is Avenil up to? What is happening behind the scenes at Bookso English? That curiosity creates anticipation, and anticipation makes your eventual reveal even more powerful. It's like a movie trailer that shows just enough to make you want to see the whole film, but not enough to spoil the story. And finally, silence gives you peace. In a noisy world, peace is rare. When you're not constantly updating others, you're not constantly thinking about their reactions. You're free to focus on the work itself. You wake up thinking about what you need to do today, not about what you need to explain to others. You go to bed satisfied that you moved forward, even if nobody else saw it. That kind of peace is worth more than 1,000 likes, shares, or comments. So if you're listening to me right now, I want you to take this seriously. The next time you have a big idea, resist the urge to announce it. Let it live inside you. Protect it, feed it, and grow it quietly. Let it surprise the world when it's ready. Because I promise you, when you finally show them, the impact will be 10 times greater than if you had told them from the start. And you'll know deep inside that you did it the right way. Now that we've walked through all the reasons why silence is so powerful, I want to leave you with a vision of how this can look in your own life. Picture yourself standing at the starting line of a long, winding road. You know that somewhere far ahead is the finish line. Your dream, your goal, your vision. The road is not smooth. It has hills, sharp turns, and maybe even storms. You could shout to everyone at the start, "I'm going to make it," and wait for their cheers. But here's the problem. Once you start walking, those cheers will fade, and you will be left with only your own footsteps. Worse, if you stumble, the same people who clapped might now shake their heads. But imagine instead that you begin walking quietly. You don't announce where you're going. You don't need applause. You move forward step by step, using your energy only to push yourself along. When storms come, you fight them without worrying about who is watching. When the road twists, you adjust without having to explain yourself. And then one day, you reach the finish line. You cross it with strength in your heart, knowing you got there by your own will. And that is when you turn around, and only then, and people see what you have done. The surprise on their faces, the respect in their eyes, the curiosity in their voices. That's the reward of working in silence. You see, silence isn't about hiding forever. It's about protecting the process until it's ready. Think of every great invention, every masterpiece, every life-changing project. It was created in private before it was revealed in public. Nobody saw the painter alone in the studio late at night. Nobody saw the writer deleting pages over and over. Nobody saw the entrepreneur working through failure after failure. But the world saw the finished painting, the final book, the successful business. That's how it works. Quiet creation, loud results. And I'm telling you, my friends, you can do the same. Whether your dream is to start a business, master a skill, change your life, or even learn English fluently, you don't need to tell the whole world your steps. Just take them. Every single day in silence, without seeking approval. You'll find that the less you talk, the more you do. And the more you do, the closer you get to your goal. But there's one more thing. Silence also builds humility. When you're not constantly announcing your plans, you learn to value the work more than the recognition. You stop chasing the spotlight and start chasing excellence. And when the time comes to reveal what you've done, you do it with quiet confidence, not with arrogance. People respect that. They respect results that speak without shouting. And here's a truth I've learned in my own journey. People might doubt your words, but they cannot deny your results. A spoken plan can be ignored, argued with or laughed at, but a finished achievement stands solid. It's proof. It's real. It's undeniable. And that's why I want you to remember this. In the world we live in now, where everyone is quick to share every detail of their lives, the rare person who works in silence will always stand out. You'll notice something else. When you stop talking so much about your plans, you start to enjoy them more. They feel personal, special, like a secret between you and your future. You carry them like a hidden light inside you, and that light grows brighter with every step you take. And when the day comes to open your hands and show the world, they'll see not just the result, but the strength, patience, and discipline that got you there. That is far more inspiring than any announcement you could make at the start. I know this isn't always easy. We live in a culture that tells us to share everything, to post every update, to prove we're working on something. But the most valuable things in life often grow in the quiet. A seed doesn't make noise when it grows into a tree. The sun doesn't announce every morning that it's going to rise. It just rises. And you too can rise without announcement. Just imagine the power you'll feel when people say, "I had no idea you were doing this." Imagine the pride in knowing you built something without needing anyone's constant approval. Imagine the freedom of failing in private and trying again without shame until you succeed. That is the life you can have if you choose the path of silent work. So, my friends, as we close this talk today on Bookso English, I want you to remember the lesson I wish I had learned sooner. Don't tell everyone your plans. Keep them safe, keep them close, and feed them with action, not words. Let your success speak for you, and let the world find out only when you're ready. Surprise them. Inspire them. And above all, protect your vision like it's the most valuable thing you own. Because it is. Your dream belongs to you, and only you can bring it to life. Until then, let it grow quietly, far from the noise, until it is strong enough to stand in the light. And when that day comes, you will smile, knowing that your silence was never empty. It was the sound of your future being built.